Welcome to the Transform Sales Podcast, where forward-thinking business leaders come to share their experiences and ideas, learn from each other, and amplify their results together.
All right, guys, welcome to another session of the Transform Sales Podcast, Sales Software Review. We have Justin, who is a co-founder of AssetMule, and today he's gonna show us how to create personalized interactive sales assets for product marketers. Thank you for being here, Justin.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, just to get started, what is an alternative that customers are using for this specific use case before buying your software?
Yeah, so most of our customers, they're product marketing and sales teams, right? And the product marketers are usually the ones creating the sales assets. And usually they're actually working with freelance designers to support this process. So they may be spending thousands of dollars creating new one-pagers and decks and case studies and things like that. And it could take, weeks, 2 to 3 weeks for them to be able to deliver these assets to the sales team. So the idea with AssetMule is it enables these product marketers to create this stuff without designers, right? We've got a bunch of templates, as I'll show you. We've got a visual design system that makes it really easy for them to build these assets. And then the sales team can personalize those assets, and these are interactive assets as well. So, prior to AssetMule, they're usually PDFs that are being delivered by these designers, and those PDFs are not easy to personalize, and they're pretty static and generic. So we're really transforming the process, but also the format in which these assets are being delivered.
Got it. So you're not only reducing the time it takes for somebody to see the product itself, but you're also allowing people to get a better feel for what they're going to be using, right? Instead of spending so much time doing that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's both the time it takes to create the sales assets. That's one of the benefits. But then on the sales side, it's the ability to personalize those assets so that they drive more engagement with buyers. And then also the interactivity of those assets impacts the engagement from buyers, but also allows the salesperson to track that their buyers are actually engaging with the asset and see what they're doing with them. All things that these, again, static PDFs, PDFs were made for printing out, right? And now nobody's printing them out anymore, right? We're all viewing them on web browsers. So there's an opportunity, we feel, to make it more interactive, more engaging, and more trackable in the end.
Got it. Thanks for sharing that. You did mention some challenges that we're facing, but what other challenges were your customers running into, which those alternatives that your software help them overcome?
Yeah, I think what the main one, sort of the high level one, is that sales reps don't use the assets that product marketers give them, right? We found actually in a Forrester report that only 35% of sales assets ever get used. And again, these product marketers are spending money and time and working with designers trying to turn them around, and suddenly the sales team doesn't use them. And the one reason for that is that the sales team feels that those assets, although they might speak to their general audience, right, their general persona, they're not relevant for the specific buyer or prospect that they're talking to in that moment. They're not personalized for them, right? So that becomes a real tension between the product marketing and the sales team, right? The product marketer essentially is like, hey, I'm delivering all these sales assets to you. Why aren't you using them? And then the sales team's like, well, because they're not relevant, right? They don't speak to my buyer. And it creates a lot of tension between the teams. So what our product allows these teams to do is actually work together to create assets that can be personalized, but at the same time, make sure that they're still on brand, on message, so that both sides get what they want, right? And there's a better working relationship between those two teams.
Oh, thanks for sharing. And one of the things that I noticed using this kind of tool is for example, if there's any changes, you can actually go ahead and change in real time,
Yep.
right? So that if you're using this for like a campaign, and there's information that needs to be fixed, or there's a new message to be shared among your audience, you can go ahead and make those tweaks as soon as possible, right? Because I
Yeah.
feel like that's something that you would usually struggle with, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, another big challenge that exists is salespeople using outdated assets, right? Because again, if they're PDFs, a lot of the times they're storing it on their local drive, right, in their folder, and they're sending that out. And the product marketer might have updated a bunch of stuff. Maybe there are new customer logos and there are new quotes, new stats that they're including these assets. But if the sales team is using what's on their local drive, then they're using outdated stuff. If it's a web-based asset, no matter if it's even in the hands of the prospect, right, already, you can make those updates, and everybody's using the latest version and seeing the latest greatest stuff. So it's a really good point on the benefits of a more dynamic format for sales assets.
No, absolutely. And one thing that you brought up that's very important is everybody's saving their own version of the PDF, right? So somebody has something from 2023, somebody from 2024, but there's that one person that has the one that just launched yesterday, and that person is having more success on his interactions, on the campaigns that he's running, right? Because customer gets to feel like, hey, if I go on the website, I'm gonna see the same thing, right? So
Exactly.
awesome. So here's one of the most demanding part of the podcast, which is showing us a demo. So
Yeah.
would you demo the key features of your software that helped overcome the use case challenges you just mentioned?
Absolutely happy to do it. So I'm going to jump over here and let me know that you can see everything.
Yep.
Perfect. So the first thing that I'll sort of do is talk about how to create templates. So this is on the product marketing side, creating sales asset templates for your sales team to use. And then I'll show the sales side where the salesperson can use those templates to create and personalize assets, share them with their prospects, and actually track as their prospects engage them. So you'll see in AssetMule, every account comes with a library of pre-designed sales asset templates that you can use to make your own, right? We've got one pagers, we've got case studies, we've got competitive pages, we got sales decks, proposals. Really, we're building this over time to make sure that we're covering every use case that you might need. We also have the ability to create your own templates, and I'll show you a little bit of that as well. But let's say I'm a product marketer and I want to create a new one pager with video. I can go ahead and copy this template to make it my own. And the first thing that I can do here is add my brand colors and fonts to this template. And again, we're trying to do this so that you don't need designers at all. So all you have to do is add your URL here, and we'll create your brand theme for you. We'll pull in your colors and your fonts. So let's say I'm HubSpot. That's my company. I want to put in HubSpot.com here, create theme, and you'll see just in a matter of seconds, now we already have HubSpot's colors and fonts. And you can also, go into the theme section and make it a little bit more sophisticated, maybe adding additional colors and accent colors and things like that. But from the get-go, you can very easily get to something that's on brand. I'm going to switch over back to our AssetMule theme, as I'll just show this as if I'm building it for our company. But then from there, I can start populating this template with our content. And I can start by putting in our logo here. And again, I can upload our logo, which is great. I probably have our logo on file, but especially for prospects and customer logos, instead of having to go to Google and find the logo, download it, upload it, and format it, we try and make it super easy by going from URL to logo. So you can just put in this case, assetmule.ai, and just like that, I can sort of find some logos that I can pull in here and use, right? And then I can continue sort of going down and adding my content in here. I can replace this placeholder copy with my own, add videos of our product in here. I can add customer logos and, upload images, and just sort of go and piece by piece sort of make this template my own. But one really powerful part of our system is this concept of snippets, where you can save these bits of content in a library to reuse. And for the product marketer, it speeds up the process of creating new templates. But for the salesperson, as I'll show when I go through their workflow, it gives you alternative bits of content that you can swap in and out to personalize the asset while staying on message and using pre-approved content. So just to show you what I mean, for this value statement, if I put in some content in here, I can go ahead and save it as a snippet. I can give it a name. I can add some tags, maybe by persona or industry or use case, and save it to the snippet library. And then it becomes accessible for me to find and pull in. And once I have snippets, again, it's really fast and easy to build new templates, because you're just sort of pulling in from your existing library of micro bits of content, and sort of in a very modular way, just building out your template for the sales team to use.
Got it. So you could keep the same message, but obviously customize it based on a specific industry, right? So that
Yep.
The message stay strong. Got it. Awesome.
Yeah. And what I just showed you right now is building from one of our templates, and that's where a lot of our customers start. They'll sort of use our base templates to start building their own, but very quickly they get pretty creative and they want to start creating their own stuff. And we allow you to sort of create templates from scratch as well. So the way that it works is you just sort of, it's very visual, right? You just add a section and you can apply your color to that section. And then these are what we call components, pre-designed components that you can use to sort of visually build out your templates. So things like quotes and images, but also that sort of logo for logo sort of setup where I can put AssetMule's logo in here, and then again leave. Oops. Let's see if that. There we go. And then leave that space for my sales team to add their prospects logo. So like, let's say I'm selling to LinkedIn. I can put linkedin.com in here and like pull that in. And then, there's some sizing that I can do here. Maybe I want to quickly reduce the size so that's a little bit more balanced, right? And then maybe I want to add another section and I want to add actually, I'm going to add a header and a subhead, and I can go ahead and center it. And then I can pull from my snippet library again, right? And, pull in some pre-approved messaging here. And then, I think we were talking a little bit before we started recording on interactive demos, right? So you can pull in interactive demos into your assets as well. All you have to do is add the embed code here from a tool like Storylane or Novatic or Howdy Go. There's a bunch of these really great tools, and you can render that interactive demo here. What's also great is that you can actually save those as snippets as well. So you can have different versions of the interactive demo based on different use cases. And again, you can just sort of pull that stuff in. Now, instead of just having a static image of your product or a video of your product, now you have this sort of interactive tour. And just to show you how quick you can continue building out this asset, I'll just sort of finish it off here with a couple more sections. Maybe I want to add the logos in here, right? And then maybe I want to add like some pricing tiers in here. And again, I'm just going through my existing snippet library, right? And then finally, maybe I want to add another sort of embed code section and include my calendars or my, a calendar so that prospects can book meetings with my sales team, right? So you can even embed it a Calendly calendar here. And you'll just see very, very quickly now we have this sort of interactive, nicely designed sales asset that's ready to go for the sales team to use. And I'll show you now, I'll sort of do the last switch here over to the sales side. So a lot of this building of templates is on the product marketing side. And then where the sales team goes is they'll go to the team section of the templates and they'll find a template that they want to use, right? For instance, maybe I want to use this outbound template to do outbound to somebody like HubSpot. So what I can do is go ahead and create an asset from this template. And you'll see most of the content is already here, ready for me to use because my product marketer has already set it up for me. And now all I'm doing is just that last mile personalization. So if I'm reaching out to HubSpot, I just put in their URL here to pull in their logo. I put in the person's name. Let's say it's Dave over here at HubSpot. Maybe I do a little bit of adapting of this messaging. And then I can also drop in a quick Loom video that I did, right? Just to make that really personalized and engaging for them. And then again, as I said, a lot of the other stuff is sort of ready for me to use, including the interactive demo and so on. But there might be some stuff that I want to swap in and out. So for instance, maybe the person I'm reaching out to isn't a business development person, but they're a product marketer. So I'd rather pull in a product marketing quote in here, right? So I can filter my snippet library by product marketing and find a better quote for me to use. Or again, we're reaching out to LinkedIn. Maybe these are all SMB logos and I want to share some of in this case, I think we're reaching out to HubSpot, right? So I want to show some of our enterprise customers. So I can filter my logo strings by enterprise and just pull those in, right? And now maybe this is ready for me to use and share with HubSpot. So what I can do is go ahead and give it a name. Let's call it AssetMule for HubSpot. I'll go ahead and save that asset. And before sharing it with my prospect, I may want to do a quick preview, make sure everything looks good. And then when I'm ready to share, I can share it as a link. I can share it as a link and screenshot, or our favorite and our customer's favorite is this link and animated screenshot that I can just grab here. And then when I reach out to my prospect over email, I can just paste it in here, and you'll see it's this nice little scroll through of the asset. They can see that it's personalized with their logo, that it's got their name in the video, which usually leads to them clicking through to it, right? And then when they click through to it, this is what it's going to look like. It's like almost like a personalized micro site for them where they can check out the video, they can, click through the interactive demo, right, and check it out. Maybe they click on some of these links of other things on our on our on our websites. And then what's really great about all of this is everything's being tracked by AssetMule. So the salesperson will get an email notification like this one that I just got that says, hey, somebody just viewed your AssetMule for HubSpot asset. There's life on the other side. They're checking it out. But also what we do is then we track everything that they did on the page, right? So you'll see here, we can see that they viewed the page, they clicked on the video, they checked out that interactive demo embed, they then checked out our pricing. And for the product marketer, this is great to just see, okay, buyers are engaging with our templates. This is what they're engaging with. Over time, we can optimize our templates based on what we're seeing here. But for the salesperson, even more so, it's great to see that, hey, this prospect's actually engaging with our assets. They're interested. There's intent here. And this is maybe a prospect that we want to focus in on and follow up with and really lean into. Maybe we even get some insights on what we should send to them based on what they're doing on the page, versus like if we send an asset to somebody and they don't even view it or they don't click through a lot of stuff, maybe that's an indicator that maybe they're not as interested. We shouldn't spend as much time on them, and we should focus on those that are actually showing more intent. So that's the kind of quick walkthrough, and hopefully that gives you a sense of how easily the product marketers can build these assets, and then how sales can take those assets. They can personalize them very easily using those snippets and then share them with prospects. And because there's those interactive elements, they can really drive engagement with those prospects, but also track what they're doing and sort of optimize their follow-up strategy based on what they're seeing.
Got it. Justin, one question. Do you guys also integrate with Slack, for example, to get real-time messages?
Yeah, it's a great feature request. We've gotten it quite a few times, and we're thinking about doing that. So there's a couple of different ways that we're thinking about doing it. One is when the product marketer creates a new template or a new asset of some kind in the Slack channel, notifying the sales team, hey, there's a new template for you guys to use. Check it out here. So that's kind of one use case that we could see for it. The other use case is, as buyers are engaging with the templates, right? Not just getting the notifications over email, but also being able to get those notifications in Slack. We know everybody lives in Slack these days, so that's definitely a great place to be sending those real-time notifications.
Awesome. So when it comes to this, what are the tasks, deliverables, and or people that are involved in setting up this software for this use case? And how long does it typically take to reach full productivity?
Yeah, so the person that usually adopts AssetMule from the beginning most likely is the product marketer. Again, they're struggling with working with designers, the turnaround with assets, getting their sales team to use it. So they're feeling that pain point, and they're usually the ones signing up for AssetMule, maybe creating the first couple of templates and snippets for their sales team to use, and then inviting their sales team to come in and start using the assets that they built for them. That's being said, that's not the only case. We've seen salespeople sign up for it themselves and then introduce it to the product marketing team. We've also seen founders sign up for it that are doing founder-led sales, right? And that they don't have a marketing team, they don't have a sales team, and this really gives them, superpowers, right, to build that library of assets that they need for their own founder-led sales. But I would say it typically starts with the product marketer. In terms of time and implementation, it's really, really fast. So we have a freemium offering, so you can sign up for free. In our onboarding flow, we actually help you create your first template. So within your first, let's say 3 to 5 minutes of using AssetMule, you already have one template ready to use. And then from there, you're running from there, right? You're building your next couple of templates. So it's really a matter of minutes to get to your first usable template and start getting the value out of AssetMule.
No, and sometimes it takes more than a month to feel like some sort of success. Here is like in the same day, you're equipping everybody with enough templates. The onboarding is very easy to understand. The amount of templates that you guys provide, not only on the formatting, but also on the messages, and then the rest of the assets, right?
Yeah,
at the end of
exactly.
this weekend.
And I think that's key in this world that we live in, right? Getting people to value as fast as possible to see sort of what the potential of a piece of software is. So we're intently focused on ensuring that it's the time to value is in minutes and not in weeks or months, as you said, which I think is the new way forward.
No, and that's one thing that us personally, for example, we use Storyland, we use RB2B, and as soon as you activate these tools, you start seeing those notifications coming in, and it's just the whole team gets a different mindset. Like, oh, this is actually working. People are watching our stuff. What's next? Let's do another campaign. Let's try this. Let's try that, and then it just activates the team, right? So
Exactly.
tools like this is definitely it complements very well for the sales teams, right?
Absolutely. And we're big users of those tools as well. So we've experienced the value by using those tools, and we've tried to sort of follow suit in our own approach with AssetMule.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Justin. The other question that I wanted to ask is, what KPIs should your ideal customer use to evaluate success with your software for this specific use case, and what quantifiable outcomes can they expect?
Yeah, a great question. So I really think of it as three layers of KPIs, and I'll give some examples. So the first layer is sales asset usage. As I mentioned, one of the big problems that product marketers are coming to us with from the very beginning is that their sales team aren't using the assets that they've created for them. So measuring sales asset usage is a great KPI for uh, determining if you're being successful with this software. And we're seeing our customers experience as much of a 10x increase in sales asset usage. So that's the first metric that I'd mention. The second metric is buyer engagement, right? So now the sales team is using the assets, but are buyers actually engaging with these assets, right? And we're seeing again our customers experience up to a 5x increase in engagements versus those traditional PDFs, right? That are again very static. These interactive elements like the videos and the interactive demos really do a great job of driving engagement with buyers. And we're seeing up to 5x engagement with an AssetMule asset versus a traditional PDF. And then the last and final metric, and probably the most important, is sales impact, right? Are we actually driving impact on our sales process? And one of the sort of most common metrics that we hear from sales teams is a decrease in sales cycle by up to 3 times. So if you think about it, if you're able to send these personalized assets to your prospects, and those assets are then shared with other stakeholders that are key to making a decision in their purchase process, and you're putting all the right information into those assets, and you can even do that over time, as you mentioned earlier, right? You can update these things and add more information as questions come up. Then these second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth meetings that need to happen usually in traditional sales, where you're pulling in different stakeholders and doing the same demos and so on, they don't need to happen anymore. They can happen asynchronously. And even if they do need to happen, a lot of the times the stakeholder is coming to the meeting with a lot more knowledge and information about what it is that your product does. And the questions that they're bringing to the table are more around maybe pricing or implementation or some of these deeper funnel sort of questions versus, again, 6, 7, 8 meetings that are the same demo over and over again, trying to sell every single stakeholder individually. Now, a lot of these assets and the interactive demos that are embedded in them do a lot of the asynchronous selling for you, which can really lead to a much faster sales process. So one of our customers, for instance, sells 6-figure ARR deals, enterprise sales, and their typical sales process is 90 days, and they've seen the ability to execute a 30-day sales cycle using something like AssetMule and interactive experiences for their buyers.
Got it. One of the questions that I wanted to ask is, when let's say I'm a buyer, I acquired an asset meal. Um, do you see that they're reducing the amount of questions and the amount of times they need to meet, in compared to what is the usual, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So that customer that I mentioned that reduced their sales cycle, they were telling us that actually there were a lot of meetings that didn't have to happen because, maybe one of the stakeholders is a CFO, and, you're able to put a ROI calculator into the asset, right? So, they can actually get all their questions answered. Another is like, a a stakeholder that needs to see and feel the product, right? And traditionally, you'd have to have a meeting where you walk them through a demo. Now you can embed an interactive demo right in the asset, and they can do that on their own, right? So definitely a reduction in meetings. But even if those meetings still have to happen, I think the people that are coming to those meetings are more knowledgeable about your solution and maybe even sold on it. And it's just a matter of questions in terms of logistics and things like that, which streamline the sales process as well.
I have a referral, and like not only me turning into a buyer, but I also have somebody that can benefit. So let's have a talk, so I could give you a handoff, because that happened before, right? So
Yep.
this is always good to me, and I'm trying to think this in a way that we use it. For example, right? I know this is focused on product marketers, but for example, in our case, people are coming to hire from us, right? So adding like a salary guide in there,
Yeah.
so everybody already knows what prices they kind of go for when it comes to an offering they want to give a candidate. So they don't even have to meet; they can just go straight to the marketplace, make a decision. They're happy, they're informed, and they're a happy client, right? So
Yeah.
no,
Super
you know,
interesting.
awesome, awesome, Justin. So, just I think this was a great session. There was a lot of things that I wasn't aware of due to the fact that I didn't know there was such a great tool in the market to do this. Right. I did see that Storylane was kind of helping us achieve some of those things, but this is just for us is massive, right? Not only because the amount of tools and templates that you have, but the ease of the use, right? Like in 5 minutes, I could kind of feel like the success. I could go back to my team and report, like, look, we have all our assets in one place. Everything could be used now, right? Before it's just let's try to find it first. Let's go to our docs. Let's try to see if we could find something that's valuable. Let's see what needs to retouch. But you're keeping the team very well informed on what they can use, right? And I feel like that's the main value.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you see the value, and I'm excited for your audience to see it as well. And you know, as I mentioned, you can sign up for free at assetmule.ai. That is a free forever tier that you can use. And you can also follow us along on LinkedIn. We're very active, sharing all our content and our learnings from the market, always talking about things around sales enablement and sales content. So and finally, you can reach out to me directly as well if you have any questions, if I can help in any way. Always love chatting about these sort of things.
I suggest I would definitely stay in touch. For those that are watching, if you're considering a tool to make sure all your assets are being used, make sure that your buyers are actually seeing everything before they land on your website and they're more informed, this is the tool to go for, right? I'm out of words because honestly, I found so much value myself. So I appreciate your time, Justin. For those that want to consider this tool, we're going to leave a link on the description. So feel free to take advantage and get some support from Justin, who is always available to support you. So, guys, thank you again for this session of the Transformer Sales Podcast Sales Software Review with Justin. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.